The dawn of war. The first light of dawn crept over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of crimson and gold. The air was thick with tension as the kingdom's soldiers assembled in the courtyard, shields polished, blades sharpened, and armor clanking in steady rhythm. The coming war could be felt in every heartbeat. Before the council meeting, Mix walked alone toward the ancient temple behind the castle. The marble statue of Perseus, his father, stood silent beneath the morning light. He knelt before it, placing his hand on the base where an inscription read, "Courage is born from love." "Father," he whispered, eyes closed, "if I fall today, let it be fighting for the light you once defended. Guide me, because I will not let your legacy fade." A faint warmth pulsed beneath his palm, as though the statue itself had heard him. Inside the war hall, tension filled the air. Maps, scrolls, and battle markers covered the long table. The king, generals, and Mix gathered around to form a plan. "We'll fortify the western walls and reinforce the gate towers," said one commander. Mix leaned forward. "If they breach the front, we hold the courtyard as our last line. We fight together. No retreat." Then Clara stepped forward, bow slung over her shoulder, eyes fierce with determination. "I'll join the archers," she said. The room fell silent. "Clara, no," the queen objected. "You cannot go into battle." Sophia's voice cracked. "You could die out there. Please don't do this." Even Mix spoke gently. "Clara, you've done enough for this kingdom. Let me protect you this time." But Clara shook her head. "You forget. I was trained for this. I won't stand behind walls while others fight for me." The king exhaled deeply, his expression torn between pride and fear. "Then you'll command the wall archers. But no reckless moves. That's an order." That evening, the royal family gathered for dinner. Laughter came faintly, almost forced, but it was the only warmth they had before the storm. After the meal, Clara found Sophia sitting alone in the garden, her eyes glistening under the moonlight. Clara smiled softly. "Don't cry, sister. Heroes aren't born. They're made when they choose to fight." Sophia's lip trembled. "Just come back to us." "I will," Clara said, pulling her into an embrace. "You'll see. This isn't the end. It's the beginning of our courage." Nearby, Mix watched quietly, feeling the weight of what was coming. Later, when he and Sophia were alone, she took his hand. "Promise me you'll return, both of you." Mix smiled faintly. "I promise. I'll bring her back, and I'll bring peace with me." He brushed a strand of hair from her face, whispering, "Good night, Sophia." At dawn, the sound of frantic footsteps echoed through the courtyard. A scout, breathless and pale. "The Silver Clan, they've crossed the last mountain." Horns blared. Soldiers ran to their stations, catapults were armed, and archers climbed the walls. Far beyond the mountains, Aaron led his shimmering army of silver-armored soldiers, their banners fluttering like steel flames. "The age of gold ends today," Aaron said coldly. "By dusk their kingdom will kneel." And as the wind howled across the valley, the drums of war thundered. The battle for the kingdom had begun. Clash at dawn. The first light of morning barely touched the castle walls when the horizon shimmered with silver. Thousands of armored soldiers of the Silver Clan poured over the mountains, their banners snapping in the wind. The kingdom's army stood ready, tension coiling like a spring in every soldier's heart. Horns blared. The clash had begun. Mix gripped his sword, feeling a faint pulse through the blade, a spark of the divine power the oracle had gifted him. His eyes scanned the battlefield, catching Clara's bowstring drawn, arrows ready on the castle walls. He swallowed hard, then shouted to the front lines, "Hold the walls. Do not break formation." The first wave of the Silver Clan surged forward, shields colliding with steel in a deafening roar. arrows rained down from the walls, and Clara's first volley struck with deadly precision, soldiers falling in neat rows. Mix leapt into the fray, the hum of his blade singing through the air as he cut a path through the enemy vanguard. The Silver Clan's soldiers were relentless. Their commander, a towering figure in silver armor, swung a massive axe, forcing Mix to parry with all his strength. Sparks flew, ringing like miniature lightning across the courtyard. Clang, clang, clang. Behind him, soldiers fell and rose, arrows and spears piercing shields, but Mix moved like a storm, the crescent mark on his chest glowing faintly, guiding his every strike. On the walls, Clara's arrows never faltered. She pivoted, firing at approaching soldiers with deadly accuracy. One arrow even pierced the shoulder of an enemy commander attempting to scale the battlements. She exhaled, sweat streaking her brow, but her gaze never wavered. Meanwhile, Sophia watched from the tower window, her hands pressed against the stone. She held her breath as Mix fought, heart pounding with each swing. "Come back to me," she whispered, voice lost to the wind. Mix caught a glimpse of her and felt a surge of determination. Every strike he made, every enemy he cut down, was for her, for Clara, for the kingdom. His blade hummed brighter, each swing faster, stronger, as if the blood of Olympus itself coursed through his veins. The Silver Clan pushed harder, breaking through a section of the outer walls. Soldiers shouted, the clang of weapons echoing across the courtyard. Mix roared, charging into the breach, and with a whirlwind of strikes, he drove the enemy back. Sparks and blood flew in a chaotic dance. Suddenly, Aaron appeared on the battlefield, his silver eyes blazing with fury. He moved like a shadow, striking soldiers aside with terrifying precision. He met Mix at the center of the courtyard, their weapons colliding with a force that sent shudders through the ground. Clash, sparks flying like lightning. "You cannot stop me, son of Perseus," Aaron bellowed. "I will protect this kingdom," Mix shouted, pushing against Aaron's strike. A flash of light emanated from his blade, the partial divine power awakening in him. He felt strength he hadn't known before, every strike reverberating with force, every parry faster than mortal speed. From the walls, Clara's arrows continued to rain down, providing Mix the opening he needed. He spun, slashing through Aaron's guard, forcing the Silver Clan leader to stagger back. Soldiers began to retreat in small pockets, confusion spreading like wildfire. Despite the chaos, Mix pressed on, rallying his men. "Hold, fight for your homes. We are the kingdom's shield." The battlefield was chaos incarnate, smoke, dust, and the clang of metal. Yet slowly, the kingdom's army began to push the Silver Clan back, wave after wave. Mix and Clara fought in perfect rhythm, one striking, one covering, both unwilling to falter. Hours passed like minutes. Sweat, blood, and fire painted the battlefield. Finally, with a decisive blow from Mix's glowing sword and a perfectly aimed arrow from Clara, the enemy commander fell. The remaining soldiers hesitated, then retreated toward the mountains, leaving the kingdom's gate standing. The courtyard was silent, except for heavy breaths, broken shields, and the distant retreating cries of the Silver Clan. Mix stood, chest heaving, sword dripping, eyes scanning the battlefield. He had won, but the glow of his crescent mark reminded him this was only the beginning. Sophia ran to him, throwing herself into his arms, tears of relief streaming down her face. You came back," she whispered. "I promised," Mix said, holding her close. "And I'll keep protecting this kingdom. This is just the first battle." Clara joined them, bow slung over her shoulder, exhausted but alive. "We fought well," she said, smiling faintly. "But the war, it's not over yet." From the distant mountains, Faint silver banners flickered in the morning sun. Aaron's army was retreating, but for how long? The storm was far from over.